Hello, ladies, gents, and everyone. It is Thursday, January 27th, and we're here to talk about this week's space and astronomy news. First, an update on one of our favorite rovers who has been dealing with a little pebble problem. So to catch you up, Perseverance had a failed sample attempt back on December 29th, and it turned out to be because of pebbles that were lodged in its bit carousel. So the pebbles from the upper part were actually dislodged last week by rotating the bit carousel and letting those pebbles fall to the ground, which was confirmed by images of the bit carousel, which show the pebbles aren't there anymore, and by images of the ground, which show new pebbles on the ground. Now, there are still some pebbles in the lower area, but the team thinks that these pebbles will not interfere with the rover's operations, although of course they are going to try and confirm that before they go ahead. Also, because the sampling process was disrupted after the actual sample was taken, there was still sample in the tube, and the team wanted to get that out. So they basically shook the tube upside down using the percussive drill on the rover for almost 3.5 minutes, and the sample tube has been cleared. So while the team still has a few things to do before Perseverance can be back in action, things are looking really good, and I'm very optimistic that we'll see it in operation soon. Good luck, Percy. Are you guys sick of hearing about JWST yet? Well, I hope not, because I have a really exciting update for you. JWST has arrived. Yes, it is now at its final destination of a halo orbit at the L2 point. Webb did an insertion burn on Monday for about 5 minutes, giving it just enough extra velocity to enter into its desired orbit. This was the last course correction, so now all of the fuel remaining on board will be used for maintaining Webb's operations, and there is enough fuel that NASA has estimated we will get at least double the originally predicted 10-year lifetime. Now that it's on site, Webb will be continuing to cool down, so as of this morning it was at a very chilly -333 to -348 degrees Fahrenheit, but it still needs to get down to 40 Kelvin, which is about -388 degrees Fahrenheit. The mirrors are also in their process of being calibrated and aligned. The instruments need to be activated and commissioned, so there's still a lot to do before we can actually start using the Webb. Now, if you're curious about just what the Webb is going to be looking at first, check out this Monday's video and learn a little bit more. It was discovered this week that a discarded Falcon 9 second stage is on track to hit the moon. Not displayed, it's fine. This rocket was used to launch NOAA's Deep Space Climate Observatory, DISCOVER, back in February of 2015, and since then it's basically just been banging around in the Earth-Moon gravity well. Normally, the second stage of a Falcon 9 would fall back to Earth and burn up in the atmosphere, but in this case, because DISCOVER was going to the L1 point, the Falcon 9 had to basically go a little too far to go back and do that, and so it was just discarded in space. And now an astronomer, Bill Gray, who runs Project Pluto, noticed that this piece of space debris was on a collision course with the moon. So he put out a call for more observations to help determine the orbit of this object. And based on those observations, he calculated the trajectory for this Falcon 9, and it looks like it's going to hit the far side of the moon on March 4th. Now, before you get too concerned, remember that the moon is being hit all the time. Unlike the Earth, it doesn't have an atmosphere to protect it from even small objects in the solar system. And although in this case it wasn't deliberate, we have in the past intentionally hit the moon with artificial satellites because it can release ejecta from the surface that scientists can study and learn more about the moon's surface. And in fact, the satellites currently orbiting the moon will take advantage of this unplanned impact to get some bonus data. Speaking of the moon, NASA is still working hard on its Artemis program, which is a set of missions that will return humans to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. The first mission of the program, Artemis I, is an uncrewed mission that is basically a test flight of the SLS and the Orion spacecraft. Now, the Artemis I schedule has been slipping, and it is currently nominally scheduled for this March, but it's probably going to slip to at least this summer. But we are one step closer. The Artemis I countdown test was successfully completed on Monday. This test basically simulates the process of launching and tests the software and sequencer as they will be used on launch day. Now they'll be testing the individual systems of the SLS ahead of a wet dress rehearsal, which could happen as soon as next month. Lastly, astronomers have detected another new mysterious source in the sky. This object is emitting radio waves, and every 20 minutes or so it becomes one of the brightest radio sources in the entire sky for about a minute. Now, pulsating radar sources, or pulsars, have been known for decades, but they typically have periods on the order of milliseconds to seconds, while this object has a period of 18.18 minutes. This means it could be something called an ultra-long period magnetar, which is a type of object that has been hypothesized but never observed. And magnetars and pulsars are both types of neutron stars. But this source is much brighter than was predicted for ultra-long period magnetars, meaning if it is one, it's somehow converting its magnetic energy into radio waves way more efficiently than anything else we've ever seen. Detecting new objects like this is a chance to open a new window onto physics and the universe, so it is really exciting. And astronomers will be searching to see if they can find more of these or if this object is an oddball. That's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you again next week. Have a good one. Bye!